Hi, this is Ishfaq Khan, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to do accounting for post-dated checks with the help of examples and journal entries. Alright, let's understand it with the help of an example. Suppose you have purchased a furniture on 25th of March 2024. So when you have at the time of purchase you made a journal entry as furniture account debit and account payable credit. This is your liability, this is your asset, this is your liability. Alright, now you have issued a post dated check on the same date, but the date written on the check is 22nd of July 2024. You have issued a check on 24th of March, but the date of the check is 22nd of July 2024. Now, as far as accounting is concerned, there will be no journal entry. You can keep the record of this check and the financial statement will be effected on 22nd of July 2024. As far as this post-dated check is concerned, the financial statement will be effected on 22nd of July 2024. You will make no journal entry. You can keep the record of this post-dated check, and once the maturity date will come on that date, you will make entry account payable debit and bank credit. One more thing, if you are closing the books of accounts on 30th of June 2024, there will be a disclosure of this post-dated check by the auditor if the amount is material in accordance with relevant IAS or IFRS. So this is how the concept of post-dated checks works. This was the scenario in which you have issued a post-dated check. So what you did, you just kept the record of this check and no entry is made for this post-dated check specifically. Only you keep the record separately and at the date of maturity you make the entry. Now let's see the same concept with post-dated check received. And similarly, if you receive a post-dated check, suppose you have made a sale on 30th of March 2024. So account receivable booked with 9,500 and sales credit with 9,500. And your customer has given you a check with the date of 28th of July 2024. So again, there will be no effect of this post-dated check on financial statement until the date of the check. So no journal entry is required. You just keep a record of this post-dated check for your internal control purposes, and on the date of maturity you will make this entry bank debit account receivable credit with the same amount. So this is the technique or accounting concept behind post-dated check issued and post-dated check received. This is the first technique. In this, you don't record post-dated checks in your books of account. You just keep a record separately, and on the maturity date you make the entry. This is the concept of post-dated checks, and this is the method that you can use. You keep the record separate and on the maturity date you record it, or if your ERP system allows you to enter the check on the future date, you can do that as well. This technique can be used if you receive one or two check during a year or issue one or two check during a year and you are not using post-dated checks frequently and you don't want to show it into your ledgers account. So that is simple and accounting wise correct. You can do that as well. If you are using the post-dated checks frequently, or the nature of your business is such that you use the post-dated checks frequently, then you have to create one intermediary account as PDC receivable or PDC payable. Let's see how it works. So now with the same example, suppose you have purchased the furniture on 25th of March 2024 with the amount as 5,000 now, and you issued a check of 5,000. So you issue the check on 25th of March and the date of check is 22nd of July 2024. what you will do, you will create an intermediary account as PDC issued account, an intermediary account. So what you will do, on the same date you will make another entry. You will debit your account payable and credit PDC issued. What you are doing is that you are just categorizing your suppliers with those who are issued with PDCs. So here you can see that supplier is credited, supplier is debited, so account, furniture and PDC issue. So then you will have one ledger account PDC issued with the date of the PDC, supplier name and other detail as well, so that you can use it for internal control purposes as well. So then on the maturity date, what you will do, you will debit your PDC issued account and credit bank. So here PDC issued debit, credit, here it is debited again, so supplier to the bank account. So this method is used when you are frequently issuing the post-dated checks and you want to have a track record as well. This is the most commonly used method, so I will also recommend use this method. Similarly, for PDC received, suppose you have made a sale on 20th of March 2024 with 9,500 and you have issued a post-dated check to your customer and you have received a one post-dated check from your customer with the date 28th of July 2024 on this date. Now what you are going to do is that you will debit your account PDC receivable and credit your account receivable. So what you are doing here is that you are just categorizing your account receivable with PDC receivable. So in effectively what you are doing is that account receivable you debit, account receivable you credit. But this account receivable debit and credit, you are saying that these account receivable have PDCs. PDC receivable is debit and account receivable is credit. Here you can see that at the time when the check is matured, you will debit your bank account and credit account receivable. So this is how you can deal with PDCs by PDC issue account and PDC received account. And as I said, if the amount is material and you are closing your books of accounts, a disclosure will be given in accordance with relevant IFRS. So that's it. I hope you like this video. Please click the subscribe button for me. Share it with your friends. Give me some motivating comments so I can release more videos of these kinds. Thank you very much. Take care. Stay blessed.